to 7 p.m. for Trading Time Prime Time, right here on AM 1380 WYSH.
Welcome to the Locker Room Chat. I'm David Queener, and I swear, you know, I ought to just, you know what I ought to do?
What?
I ought to just get up and leave. I seriously ought to get up and walk out the door. Ron Berry has sent you down here to fill in for him, and now he's bought you another thing from Starbucks. I ought to get up and leave.
When you asked me to fill in for Ron, for whatever reason, and I don't care, he texts me immediately, probably a minute after you call me. And I get one of these on my phone. I just have to go by and
he told me, he said, tell ET Starbucks will be waiting for him.
They are.
So I was here last week, and he got on me about his credit card. He said, I went on vacation and spent money on his credit card. And I said, my wife told me to ask you if you could put more than 50 cents on there. You can't buy a Coke with what he puts on there. So he acts like he's some big spender with me. Then it rolls around you, he goes to Starbucks. I ought to just get up and walk out the door.
This is $4. And you had a BBB T-shirt. He gave you that.
No, he didn't give me that. Brad gave me that. I probably had to buy it somewhere. It probably cost me. No, Brad gave me the T-shirt. I didn't have anything to do with it.
Take your eyes off of that.
Well, that's. I'll just tell you, next time he calls me and says you got to get ET, I'm gonna tell him, you got to send me $20 first before I'll do it. He's got to give me $20.
Nice guy, sure.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy.
Nice guy.
Hey, I guess as we come to you tonight, seeing how me and ET both are from Clinton, we come to you tonight with some heavy hearts because we lost a long time Clinton Dragon and head basketball coach Donnie Lockhart today. As if you were watching previous to me and ET coming on tonight, you heard Jim Harris at WYSH mentioned Coach Lockhart and Chris and Linda and Yolanda and all of his family.
Sure. Yep.
You know, just
over 600 victories.
600 victories there, and like I said, the gym's named after him, and which Chris continues on his legacy today. They're coaching, and just had some really good basketball teams back in the day, and it's a big loss. If you're a Dragon today, it's a big loss for the Dragon family today to lose Donnie Lockhart. Whether you play basketball for him or not, and I did not play basketball for him, but it's just a huge loss today for the Dragon family that lost Coach Lockhart today, and our prayers and thoughts from Channel 12 and myself go out to Coach Lockhart and his family today.
One of the Dragons, Sam Hall, passed away a couple years ago, and we put something together at the gym at halftime one night and tried to get a lot of the alumni to come back that had played with Sam Hall and in the 60s. And Larry Severs had showed up that night, and Don Lockhart was there, and with all the faces, and I guess Don was trying to recognize some of the guys that played in the 60s and 70s, and but the minute Larry Severs walked up to Don, he had tears in his eyes. But he just had so much feeling for a lot of the kids, Tracy Wandell and Blaine Lamb, and all the great basketball players at Clinton High School. Don really cared about those guys and made them who they are today. He was tough on them. He was a tough coach. You well know that. His temper would go off in a heartbeat, but he would calm down in a heartbeat too. So I did play-by-play back in the day, and when Don was there, and Chris gets this honestly. Chris will put the thermostat up on 90 2 days before the basketball game of a visiting team coming into Dragon Den. I guess he's going to run you to death. Plus, he's going to warm you up a little bit. And Don did the very same thing. And great memories with his wife Linda and Don. Always had a great time with them. Even when he got ill and he was in a wheelchair, we'd always go visit Don and wanted to talk basketball. And, oh yeah, I've got a film I want to show you. If you was on the couch, you had to watch that film, whatever it was. But it's a great guy.
Well, a good man and a good basketball coach, and there's a lot of. I'll say this: there's probably a lot of heavy hearts today. He touched a lot of lives over there at the high school.
We're sitting here in Oak Ridge, and there used to be some big-time basketball games between Clinton and Oak Ridge.
Yes.
When Oak Ridge was great, and they're still a great basketball team. But when Don was there, Oak Ridge was top of the ladder, And so, but Clinton always had a great basketball team, and but very aggressive, just like Chris coaches.
And you tell me he played football?
He was a leading scorer at Jellicoe High School. He's a leading scorer in state, both basketball and football in one given year. Think about that.
Wow.
Pretty good athlete.
That's a pretty good athlete right
absolutely.
there. So if you've not heard today, Coach Donnie Lockard, longtime Clinton head basketball coach, passed away today. And like I said, I'm sure there'll be the arrangements will get out, and everybody will know what those arrangements are here in the next probably 24 hours. But our prayers and thoughts from Channel 12 and me and E.T. go out to the Lockard family today.
Absolutely.
Like I said, and I'll repeat it one more time, it's a big loss for a lot of Dragon people today. So
kicked up a lot of memories. He'll be at Jones Mortuary, I think, receiving friends 5 to 7 in Clinton on Friday. And,
you think is that when it is? You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Saturday will be the funeral, and there'll be a few people there.
There'll be a few people. There'll be a few people there at Jones. I hope they're prepared for it because there'll be quite a few people there.
Absolutely.
But we'll move on, and as we move on, high school sports is sort of winding down. Et.
Love it, absolutely love it.
And it's it's the time of year where
Webb High School girls has won the 9th straight. Did you hear me what I said?
9th straight
straight state title in tennis.
Wow.
Think about that. They just reload. The old saying, are they rebuilding? No, they're just reloading.
Reloading. 9 straight. You might see 4 or 5, but nine's a lot because if you won 4, you could say you had a sense of maybe
You had a bunch of came in the freshmen that were good.
Freshmen that stayed on together, and they play and they won. But to do 9 straight, that's a long stretch right there. I don't care what sport it's in. That's a long stretch.
Do we use recruiting at Webb? Do we use that word?
Well, I guess you can.
So
it's a private school,
somebody does a good job.
And that's why they're in the private thing. Yeah, they can. I guess they give scholarships. I assume that. I don't know that. So, but I assume. Let me ask you another question.
Yes.
I know we got some people watching tonight. Did you put stakes out today for the new middle school in Clinton? Did you stake it out?
I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I was.
So you didn't know you was doing that?
No, I
was sent to do.
Doing a little bit for some architect. But anyway, we were.
Okay.
I was driving.
Us don't go no further than that. Keep me out of it.
We're driving some stakes and stretching strings. And
okay.
Reach situated. Is that what it's for?
Before I saw you, that's probably what it was for.
Ooh, okay.
So you're building it.
This phone's going to light up in a minute.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, but you can tell the ends of school because everybody's got a camp, baseball camps, basketball camps, obviously football camps. But we opened the Courier today, and I think one whole page was camps. And they start on as early as 5 years old and going up to junior and seniors at basketball camps.
Just talking about sports in general, I was talking, I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, and we were talking about sports, and I heard him talk about, might have been Councilman Harold, Robbie Harold's who I was talking to, and we was talking about baseball. And he said, sports now is not just a 2 or 3 month sport now. It's basically year round. You take a few days off and then you come back. And I heard somebody say at the office the other day that they were doing tryouts for the high school team maybe in the next week or two, or maybe this week.
It's now.
It's now having tryouts, and
exactly.
If you're an incoming freshman, you go ahead and try out now to see whether you're going to make it or not. So, when I went, we played summer ball, but didn't have anything to do with the high school. We played summer ball, and
absolutely.
But now high school sports it's been that way for a little while, though.
Well, at Clinton High School,
it's not just started, but it's been that way for a little while.
Well, at Clinton High School now they have the indoor hitting facilities, but a lot of your high schools have that. Either that or they have to have the nets in the gym that you can hit and the ball don't go anywhere. But they're hitting in the dead winter. I mean, it's so cold, you can't even get outside, and they're doing that. And of course, Clinton has an indoor hitting facility at the high school field. And yeah, it's 11 months. I mean, if you're not doing it, somebody else is doing it, David, so you better be doing it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you better be. Yeah,
exactly.
no, you're
So
right. I agree with you.
That's the attitude, and you can see why the Florida teams and Arizona teams and California teams are just a bit better. I mean, they just play all year long, and they can get outside in the day. So
I'd be interested to talk to somebody like Coach Gaddis, as an example.
Right.
To talk to Coach Gaddis and just sit down and talk to him and let him tell you, from the time he started coaching football to today, I just wonder what he would say, how much, not the rules, but how much is the way he coached the day he started compared to the way he's coaching today. How much of that has changed? Has he had to change his coaching habits once, twice, 3 times? Because he's been coaching a long time,
and
too.
you've got to make the change.
And you've got to make the change in order to survive,
Exactly.
which apparently he's done that because he has survived.
Sure.
So I would that might be a question later on in the summer when they start doing their show right after our show.
Coach for a long period of
Yeah,
time.
coach for a long period. I'd like to ask him that question. Coach, how many times have you had to change the way you actually coach football because it changed? And maybe not just him. Ask somebody. Jody Wright would be another. How many times have you had to change? Have you changed? Has basketball changed the way you coach, or do you still coach pretty much the same way you did when you first started?
Or are you flexible enough to change with your talent? And in high school, you haven't recruited nobody. You just got your talent.
What you got.
You got what you got, so you're the one that's going to have to change because this is what you have. Another question to go into that, we just mentioned baseball 11 months, but probably football and basketball players are kind of the same. They're adding months to their training type thing. All right. Has this taken a kid away from being a 3-star athlete, a 2-star athlete?
Well, I personally,
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
I personally think so.
Yep.
And I really think it hurt. I really think it hurts some kids by not being able to play a couple of sports.
Sure.
And I just think it does. And I would say if we asked, from what I know, what little I know about basketball and what I've been around Fulton, I know Jody's always going to play really tough defense.
Right.
They're going to be a pretty well-disciplined basketball team. They're going to rebound. They're going to guard you hard.
Sure.
And I know they're going to act the right way. So, but those things he has probably not changed with him. I'd just like to know if he has to coach kids different today than he did when he first started out his first gig at Union County. And I'd say that he probably had to change a little bit.
I think
because
the kids have changed.
And the kids have changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly right.
Yep.
The kids have changed. But you're right. I think there's more schools now saying, hey, you want to play football? You just play football.
Yep.
You want to play basketball? You just play basketball. You want to play baseball? It's just baseball. I think that's wrong. I think if somebody can play multiple sports, they ought to be given the opportunity to play multiple sports.
Well,
Because, listen, what if you get injured in football? Let's take football, for instance. What if
Sure.
you get injured in football?
Sure, right.
But you can still play baseball.
Baseball.
But you've dropped it. Your injury doesn't keep you from playing baseball. Keeps you from playing football, not baseball. But you've had to drop it as a freshman or a sophomore now, and you've not played it in the last couple of years. But you were pretty good at it before you had to drop it.
Exactly.
Now you're not able to play football. Can you pick it? But you think they can pick it back up fast enough to get caught up? That's a good question. I don't know that anybody would know the answer to that. So that's why I think kids ought to be able to play multiple sports.
I just wonder if that football team, let's say, has some outstanding talent, and they've created the football system to where now it's 7th or 8th month of lifting weights and so forth like that. Has their baseball team fallen off a little bit because these star athletes are still dominating their practice time of football, not playing baseball anymore? Or that 6'5" split end on football, is he not playing basketball anymore? And 6'5" on a basketball court will make a difference.
Makes a difference. I personally know at Fulton, I do know they share athletes.
But he has a slow start in basketball.
Always
absolutely.
has that slow start because there's years he's had 6 or 7 kids. Maybe this year he didn't even have that many. He had to wait to get the football players out, and you share kids. And I think all you have to do is maybe look at You can say, well, they've had a really good run of athletes, David. Well, maybe they have. But I think all you got to do is really look at what football and basketball at Fulton, just using an example, what they've done with the championships they've won, and say, well, man, that really does work. That really does work.
Well,
and it doesn't hurt to have the good athletes. I'll throw that in there.
For that to work, the communication between the head basketball and the head football coach has got to be excellent. Of Coach Black and Coach Wright understanding, I want these basketball players to play football. You know, I'll help you out.
Well,
I'm going to win the state. You're not going to get them till whenever. But here we go.
I'm not an athletic director anywhere, but if I was a high school athletic director, I'd have me a coaches meeting, and I'd say, hey,
this is going to happen.
This is going to happen because we're going to be well-rounded, not only in academics, but we're going to be well-rounded in sports. And if you got a kid that can play too, he's going to play too, if at all possible, unless there's a conflict with one of them. But we're going to, and there shouldn't be any conflict the way the seasons are. So I just think the kids ought to be able to play two. I don't care if it's three. If they can play three, go for it.
Well, that gives him that extra opportunity to get that little bit grant and aid that he might be able to pull off, even if that fourth sport or third sport is golf, let's say. I mean, they're giving a lot of money in golf and tennis and swimming and so forth. These kids need to take those opportunities because football, I mean, there's so many football players. And in baseball, you go to college, you may get a quarter scholarship. Because they only have maybe 7 full scholarships
They got
to split it up.
They got to split them up.
Absolutely.
Like you get a scholarship to UT, you really are not.
You don't have much.
You don't have much.
No,
do you?
absolutely.
Is that the same way like at Cumberland and all those places?
Yep.
Is that the same?
Yep. They'll give you, let's say, nine scholarships. I'm just going to pull that number out, and then if you really want to have a 5-man starting pitching squad, then you got your relievers, and then a strong shortstop, second base, center fielder, and a catcher. Those guys will usually get a full grant, hopefully, because if you don't have those up the middle, you don't have too good of a ball team. And then you want your pitching staff. That's where, in third base, first base, they'll get quarters. In catcher, that's awful because catcher is the hardest working guy on the field.
Yeah, the toughest, one of the toughest
and
positions.
he may just get a quarter, or may just get books. Think about that. You just may get books, but that's $2,000 or $3,000 there. So.
Well, it's just interesting to talk about. But like I said, I'd like to ask that question, and I might try to ask that question later on this year, and ask that to Coach Gaddis later on this year, and see exactly what it is. I tell you what we'll do. We'll jump out. And,
I need to take a break.
You need to take a break. I know. We'll jump out and take a break, and we'll be right back here on the Locker Room Chat.
Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood is your gift destination. Shop the new plush selection for that special someone. We have Bath & Body Works popular fragrances and custom gift baskets too. Live and Let Live has a wide selection of gift and home decor for any occasion, from yard flags to selected jewelry plus much more. We have Big Orange giftware always available year-round. And don't forget to enjoy a soda fountain treat while you shop. Live and Let Live Drugstore, Gift Shop, and Soda Fountain in downtown Rockwood.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
In today's world, you don't stay in business long without providing exceptional customer service. The Duff family has been providing exceptional customer service for over 44 years. Our customers rate us highly, as shown by the fact we're the only dealer in Tennessee to have earned the Subaru Love Promise Award for 7 years in a row. Check our online reviews or ask your friends. They'll tell you to come to Earl Duff Subaru, where buying is a pleasure.
Choose financing as low as 0% on all new 2018 Forester models at Earl Duff Subaru in Harriman.
Mulch & More in Midtown is your landscaping headquarters. Mulch & More offers mulch, the best topsoil in the area, all types of gravel, sand, pea gravel, either loose or in bags, creek rock, river rock, field stone, mountain mist stone, railroad cross ties, straw bales, fence posts, farm gates, and much more. Mulch & More offers backhoe and dump truck service. And Mulch & More can also demolish a house or building on your property, and they'll haul it off for you. Give Gary a call today at 865-740-5229 for Mulch & More in Midtown.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
Reno Sporting Goods, your first choice for sports equipment. On the court, on the field, or in the stands, Reno's has the brand names you want. All the latest from Adidas, Under Armour, and more. From custom embroidery to screen printing, it's all about the game. For over 30 years, Reno Sporting Goods.
Welcome back to the Locker Room Chat. We're glad to be with you this evening. Ron Berry's gone, and E.T.'s filling in for him. Glad to have E.T. here with us.
Thank you very much. Good.
I don't know so much about the coffee from Starbucks, but that's beside the point. I'll take that up with Barry next Wednesday night.
Two waiting out there in the front of the
I wouldn't doubt it that you don't. And as we were talking, as if you're just now joining us and you've not heard today, Coach Donnie Lockhart, longtime Clinton basketball coach, passed away today, and our condolences go out to his family. And I just think I just can't get on my mind about Lockhart. A lot of games that he just.
Over 600 victories, and
that's just a lot of games.
It is a lot of games in high school. You never know what your talent's going to be, and he always had them up for the job.
That's just really, Coach Lockhart was a good guy too. Yep. He touched a lot of lives.
But as speaking of basketball, Rick Barnes, thinking about adding Kansas or West Virginia, and already has added Gonzaga. I just like the guy. I mean, he's just a tough-nosed guy. I'll play anybody. It makes us better. But he's getting his talents up there to where. And
you wonder why Texas ran him off.
He's running foul. Well, run foul to the AD, but the AD's getting ready to lose his job too. I think.
Yeah, you just wonder why they ran him off. And you look at, and I know the guy that's there now came from what? It's Shaka Smart, isn't it? That's there now, I think. Mm-hmm. And came from Virginia. Was it Virginia Commonwealth? He came from, or wherever he came from somewhere. I'm not sure. But he's not done really anything. Nope. I mean, I think Tennessee's landed a really good basketball coach. Maybe the first really good basketball coach we've had since Don DeVoe.
Yep, defensive Don DeVoe.
Because I didn't think Bruce Pearl was that great of a basketball coach.
He was a motivator, got the people excited.
That's it. He was.
He filled the seats.
He filled the seats, yep, exactly. And he done exactly what Buzz Peterson couldn't do. He filled the seats and sold the popcorn and the Cokes. Right. And Buzz Peterson lost his job because they wouldn't buy enough popcorn and Cokes. Right. That's the bottom line. The revenue was down. So I just thought that
Holly Warwick may face the same.
Holly Warwick. Me and Barry had a long conversation last week. I mean, on Wednesday we had a long conversation about Holly Warwick. I personally think, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now, Holly Warwick should have already been gone from UT. Now we're going to give her a contract extension because we've got to, because recruiting. We got to be able to have it stabilized because recruiting. Okay. #1 class in the country last year.
Yes.
Okay. We get booted out by a team. Something happened last year. It's never happened before for the Lady Bucks. We get booted out. We got another really good recruiting class coming in. So now we're going to have back-to-back recruiting classes.
But now she claims she's got 13 strong on the bench. I mean, total team, she's got 13.
Well,
I don't think she had much bench.
We'll see.
Yep. Right.
I'll tell you what I look for. I look for the same thing.
It will be.
And the people, I think the people in the stands, they're not used to not going to the Elite Eight and Final Four. Now, Barry's quick to remind me, Pat Summitt had already dropped off a little bit when they found out she's sick and everything got coming. There had already been a down year or two.
Exactly.
And recruiting. Now, I agree with that. But I just think it's time for another change. Now, Barry seems to think that if she gets a contract extension and this year's a flat-out bust, that she'll resign and get out of the way.
Well,
for somebody else. Now, I don't know who that somebody else is, but
I think Fulmer put her on another extension, but I think they played with the buyout, and that's probably smart on Phillips' part. Well, if we need to get rid of her, we don't owe her a lot of money. I don't think she'll quit. I think they'll have to fire her.
Well, that's what I don't think. I don't think she'll quit neither. I think they'll have to fire her too, and I think she should have been fired. But that's beside the point too. So you know, they don't listen to me. But I have had a few fans that have told me. I had one individual, and you know the individual. He told me, he said, "I finally see what you're talking about, and you're right. It's time for Holly to go. I finally have seen it." And that's just people that are season ticket holders. We had a caller that called in a couple years, or maybe last year or year before one, that was an usher or had some seats right there. What he called the older people that were there, some of the big donors, and there was a lot of grumbling. There was a lot of people unhappy with the way the program. And you know, Tennessee women's basketball being a storied program like it is, to really go down on hard times and see people like Mississippi State and those South Carolina, and those all having success and playing the way they're playing, and then Tennessee losing for the first time to different teams that had never beat them, and they get beat by them, and then losing at home this year. Well, it seems like never lost before in that round, especially at home. So I just think Tennessee women's basketball. I think we're going in completely different directions. The men's is going here. The women's is in a nosedive.
Well, Pat,
I hope I'm wrong.
Pat, her recruiting years wasn't what you would say that were always in the top 10 recruiting years. They ended up being great basketball players because I think she coached them up. That's what a coach is supposed to do. But they played it the way Pat Summitt wanted to play, and I think Holly gets the 5 stars, and they're going to continue playing the way they want to play.
Yeah.
I don't think she turns them in the direction.
I think the difference is I don't think Holly can coach them up. I don't think she can make any in-game adjustments.
Well, it's her staff, and you notice she'll get rid of 2 staff members every year. Lockwood stayed with her as long as anyone.
Right.
But there'll be 2 or 3 fall apart, and I don't know why that is. Replacement for her. Let's just play a game here.
I don't know. Well, I would think there's maybe a couple people. I would say Oak Ridge girl here that's down at LSU,
right.
Even though she said she would not take the job. I would think the guy at Louisville, or the guy at Kentucky. The guy at Kentucky, coached for a little while. Kentucky's sort of been up and down, but he's done a fairly good job.
The Louisville coach, I think, is
the Louisville guy.
He's the sexy coach now. Yeah, right.
I'm sure if you went out here and you looked hard enough, there would probably be another name or two. There's a lot of her former players that are coaches that that have done fairly well that you might bring in. So I think there's coaches out here. Do you get somebody big time like from Connecticut or Oklahoma or A&M or somebody like that? No, you probably don't get the Oklahoma coach or the Connecticut coach. You would never get Gino to come down here. They'd kill him if he come down here, probably. But somebody like the Texas A&M coach or the Mississippi State coach.
Does Shelley Collier ever look at an assistant job?
I don't know if she ever has or not. That's a good question.
Would she? Maybe her daughters gets out of high school.
Maybe that would be something that she would look at. I mean, she's had, and I know there's a lot of difference in high school and college.
But she's
got what it takes to win at the high school level, and you just wonder about the college level, but who knows. And then I guess I'll bounce to baseball. Tennessee baseball this year, as me and Barry talked last week, I know they had a really big series last weekend, and they lost that series, and they need to win 2 out of 3. But don't you think that they've made some improvement? Do you like the direction they're going in this year?
Well,
do you like the direction of the new coach? Do you think he's got it turned around to start the right way anyway?
I totally agree with that, but the summary of baseball recruiting, especially at UT and the colder weather states, is they will have a recruiting year in the top 10, but half of them will get drafted.
And see, people don't understand that.
People don't understand that, and then all of a sudden you're 5 or 6 great athletes, and they all might be right and left-handed pitchers, but you got to have. They may be gone, and now you got to start all over, or just go with a bunch that you've recruited. And maybe they may be good, but you've lost some talent there, and all the schools in the SEC have that same problem, but the southern schools, the LSU, the Mississippi State, and the Floridas, I guess that whole recruiting class is awesome. You lose 5 or 6, you've still got an awesome recruiting class. So Tennessee can't lose their 5 or 6 great ones. Now the freshman out of Sevierville, the Lingerfelt kid, I guess, he's the right-handed pitcher, is legit. He came from Casey Taylor's stables there as he's coach. But they're a good hitting ball club. I don't know how many home runs they hit, but it seemed like they were quite a bit better than they were the year before. And he's a strict disciplinarian. Got threw out of a ball game, got penalized 2 games, sold lemonade outside the stadium 2 games. It had him lemonade staying outside.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got threw out.
I didn't go to any games this year, and I really wanted to go, and it seemed like every time I wanted to go, it was either going to be colder or not, or it was going to be rain.
They got a sun deck in left field. I mean, you can go in the left field, and they got umbrellas out there, and you can sit behind this big green wall. Pretty neat stadium, but they're going to do even more to it this next year. So it eventually will look nice.
You been to the Smokies game this year yet?
No, I haven't been. A good friend of mine, Toe Rodner, he's been down now a little bit. We always go, and but we haven't made it this year. Seems like it's 2 games out of first place here about a week ago. So they may still, it's the Cubs affiliate, owned by Randy Boyd, and I think they'll have a good ball club. Does that eventually end up in Knoxville?
Man, it seems like it's going to.
Well, he's buying a lot of old property in the old city. Like
just seems like it just seems like it's going to be back in Knoxville.
Exactly.
And I'll be honest with you, I miss it being in Knoxville.
Yeah,
it's a whole lot easier to drive to Knoxville.
It's a beautiful ballpark.
It's a whole lot easier. It is. It's a whole lot easier to drive to Knoxville than it is to drive to Sevierville.
And see, he has 2 other ball clubs, and he could probably move one right there. He's got a rookie club, and I think he's got a single A club, Greenville maybe, South Carolina. So he can move one closer to the Sevierville and then have the Knoxville, unless he feels like that would hurt his attendance, having one in Sevierville and one in Knoxville. But you have the main ball club in Knoxville. Knoxville's a good sports town. You can't tell me they won't support it.
Yeah, and I heard them talk about how long the contract lasted up there. There's still quite a few years on that contract. He would have to probably move something in to fulfill the contract.
I wonder if he gets elected governor, would that slow that process? Because he couldn't own them then, could he? Or get it out of his name
He probably has to get it out of his name somehow.
Right, exactly.
Put somebody else's name.
May slow it down a little bit.
It may slow it down a little bit, but just, I like going to the Smokies. It's a great place. It is a great place to go see a ball game, and it's a good atmosphere too. So I've not been this year yet, but I intend on making a.
I would like to be in the room with the contract negotiation with Sevierville when it comes time for this ball club on the last year. God, we don't want them to leave.
Have you ever been there when there really wasn't a good crowd?
No.
There's always a good crowd.
Yeah, even the cold weather.
There's always a good crowd.
Exactly.
I mean, if you don't already have a ticket waiting on you, or you don't already have it in your hand, and you got to stand. Sometimes you have to stand in line.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to get it. Even through the week, it's hard. It's a great place, and you can't have it in a better place when you got a destination like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg that you can go do all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Now you can go and do the American thing, go to a baseball game with a pretty good franchise, being the Cubs AA. And everybody seems like everybody loves Cubs. So
and a great hot dog, my goodness.
Yeah, great.
Good.
Let's see if we can get this to work tonight. Go ahead, caller. You on the air?
I was wanting to talk to somebody there.
Wow, I can't hear you.
Hey, David.
All right, you'll have to call us, but I can't hear you. There's too much background noise.
You got to turn his TV down there.
You got your TV on?
No, huh? What about now?
Go ahead, let's try it. See if I can hear you.
All right. David.
Yeah.
Ask that guy in the white hat how many more days is the 6 best days of summer.
How many what?
How many what now?
Ask that guy right beside you how many more days is left to the best 6 days of summer.
52.
52.
Good question. Oh, my goodness.
All right, I asked him. He said 52.
52?
Yeah, 52.
Okay, that's what I want to know now. I was going to tell you you got my vote.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Good question.
See?
I'll I'll see you.
All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Bye.
We don't know how many days to the fair. We'll talk about the fair. We might have a great time to talk about it. July 16th through the 21st.
We get cranked up there.
Yeah, Brad called me the other day and said, hey, it's about time for y'all to come down and do your yearly TV show.
Can't wait.
And I said, yeah, and I need to try to do that and get us down here so we can do our little 30-minute spot. But it's July the 16th through the 21st, and I think everything's about finalized, and we'll put that out here in the next week or two probably. You'll hear more about it in June, so we get cranked up that's July the 16th through the 21st.
What's the year of
129th year of the Anderson County Fair. And let's think about this. We've got a member.
Yeah.
We have a member that's been a part of the fair board for what? 70 years?
Right.
For 70 years.
Howard Farmer.
Folks, think about that. Howard Farmer has been a part of the fair board for 70 years. Wow.
Unbelievable.
All I got to say, and he's a good guy, and I like it because he likes my show.
He's about the only one that we can really go to and get some history farther on back.
Well, I've liked listening to him talk about where
the fair has been.
The different places the fair has been. Let's see if we can get another phone call in here and try to make it work. Go ahead, caller, you on the end.
Hey, Queen.
What's going on, Triple D?
Hey, not a whole lot, my man. First of all, I want to send my condolence and my prayers out to my Coach Don Locker.
Okay.
I know we have a lot of intense rivalry between his team and mine. He has some good athletes on that, but he was a wonderful coach. But he was a even better player to me. Anytime I talk to him after the game, sometimes during that time I see him out and about in town in Clinton and somebody no good, he's always had a smile on his face.
He did. You're right. He was a good guy and a good basketball coach.
Oh, you better believe he was. I told him one day just slightly, we were shaking hands, and I said, I love to play for you. I said, if I wasn't in no bridge, I'd be right over here. I would take my Triple D's over there to Coach Locker, because he's a fine player. He was real fun. I don't know, Queen, if you remember, back in 74, 75, we had a sophomore by the name of Roger Wade. Was all state. I mean, Dustin Turner was a pretty local kid as a sophomore, but Roger Wade was tough. He was real fond of Roger. He used to rave about Roger's ability, and he liked the coaching. But I loved to play. No discredit to Coach Carl Smith, but Coach Locker, I would have loved to play for. He was a player's coach, and he could coach. He didn't have all the talent that Oak Ridge was blessed with. But he was an excellent coach, and I heard you earlier on the show say that he had passed away. My heart goes out to his family, and his son ain't a bad coach. And I just remember him with a smile on. He's always smiling. And I just send my prayers to him and his family. And I just want to ask you, while I've got you on, Queen, have you heard anything from Kevin Steen? You know, he was injured in a car wreck here a couple of years ago.
No, I hadn't heard anything about him recently. I've got somebody that knows his family, and I'll try to ask to see what I can find out.
Yeah, see what you can find out about him.
I'll do it. I'll ask. I'll try. In fact, I'll try to do that tomorrow if I can see the person that I know knows the family. I'll check on that tomorrow.
Okay, then, because I like to see him with the UT. I think he would have needed a couple of years or whatever. He throwed, when he was in high school, he throwed about a 93-mile-per-hour fastball.
Wow.
He was a good kid. He was a Cincinnati Reds was high on him. Montreal Expos. He was an outstanding talent. I just like to see him develop his talent more so on the college level and prepare him later on to the pros. And I know he would have been an excellent prospect because he was drafted, I think, number 9. When he was a senior out of high school.
Wow.
To Boston Red Sox. That's pretty good for a 17-year-old kid because he didn't turn 18 till July of that following year. His senior year. He was 17 when he graduated. So you imagine by the time he was 21, 22, throwing about 93 miles. A lot of people didn't know that.
Yeah. I'll try to check on him. I'll try to check and see what I can find out this week.
Okay, Quinn. God bless you, man, and love your show. And you tell anybody that you know, I know you know the Rockers, telling Jeremiah Anderson that played for the Wildcats back in 74, 75, 77, 76, that I send my condolences to.
I'll do it, buddy. I'll do it. Thank you. All right, thank you, Triple D.
All right, my man. Take care now. Have a blessed night.
It's hard to understand.
Yep, that speaks volumes right there, though, to have somebody from Oak Ridge call. That competitive.
Well, people win that many games, you got to have respect for them.
Yeah, I said, you know, he's a guy I would have liked to play for, too. Yep. So it speaks a lot. Let's jump out and take another break, and we'll be right back here on the Locker Room Chat. ET's got to run down to Starbucks right quick.
Barry's I've got them sitting right over there.
Oh, okay, they're over there. Okay. Yeah. We'll be right back.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Mulch & More in Midtown is your landscaping headquarters. Mulch & More offers mulch, the best topsoil in the area. All types of gravel, sand, pea gravel, either loose or in bags, creek rock, river rock, field stone, mountain mist stone, railroad cross ties, straw bales, fence posts, farm gates, and much more. Mulch & More offers backhoe and dump truck service. And Mulch & More can also demolish a house or building on your property, and they'll haul it off for you. Give Gary a call today at 865-740-5229 for Mulch & More in Midtown.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
In today's world, you don't stay in business long without providing exceptional customer service. The Duff family has been providing exceptional customer service for over 44 years. Our customers rate us highly, as shown by the fact we're the only dealer in Tennessee to have earned the Subaru Love Promise Award for 7 years in a row. Check our online reviews or ask your friends. They'll tell you to come to Earl Duff Subaru, where buying is a pleasure.
Choose financing as low as 0% on all new 2018 Forester models at Earl Duff Subaru in Harriman.
Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood is the premier pharmacy service location. Let our professional staff help with all your pharmacy needs, answer your questions, or help with your medication management with our Medicine on Time packaging system. We also offer medication therapy management to ensure you're receiving maximum benefits from your medication. Diabetes care is available with one-on-one consultations, or you can attend one of our monthly diabetes information classes. Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood.
Reno Sporting Goods, your first choice for sports equipment. On the court, on the field, or in the stands, Reno's has the brand names you want. All the latest from Adidas, Under Armour, and more. From custom embroidery to screen printing, it's all about the game. For over 30 years, Reno Sporting Goods.
And welcome back to the Locker Room Chat. You know, we're sort of winding down here a little bit, too. It'll be just a week, maybe next Wednesday might be our last show. We'll do what we say is our dead period here at Channel 12.
I was talking to an Adidas rep that I had bought some equipment from this year, and Jody Wright actually gave me the name. He said, this guy's a legit guy, and he's somebody you'll like, and I have. But we're talking about football equipment. There's somebody out there going to love this conversation. Well, we're talking about football equipment. I said, how expensive are the helmets getting with all the concussion stuff going on and so like that? And I've heard they were like $500 a pop. And he said younger kids, he said, they run $200. When I say younger kids, probably 10, 11 maybe. And then, but you get up to the high school or college range, yeah, they're getting up there. And I said, what about the skull caps? And he said, they have proven where they don't help at all. That's just a little bit of film, padding that you can put over your helmet during practice.
I thought that a lot of people had said that was really something that really helped.
Now that was an Adidas guy. Is he getting input from coaches, and maybe they're not buying them anymore? I know when Randy McCamey.
I know they're expensive.
I know when Randy McCamey came into Clinton, there's an industry in Clinton. I'm not sure I ever heard the name, but it related back to his son Will, who had a bad concussion at Grace. And the minute I guess Randy got the job at Clinton, all of a sudden there's a big box shows up, and that's 35 skull helmets, and but it's it's in honor of Will McCamey. I think that's about all it said. And I'm sure the company's owner, but I didn't get to read that. But now Adidas is saying,
I thought that was something that was really a helpful thing. That's sort of shocking to hear that. To hear you say that a rep has said that. I mean,
I just wonder if it's sales. And have you heard more and more college coaches, they're going through an entire practice Monday through Thursday in preparation for a Saturday game, and nobody ever hits the ground.
Yes, I've heard
because the ground causes a high percentage of the concussion.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yep, and they've quit
the
techniques there, and they do hit, but nobody hits the ground.
I'll tell you something else I hear that I've been hearing a lot about recently, and I know when we first came to Clinton, when our family moved to Clinton and came to Clinton, and it's a long time ago.
From Campbell County.
From Campbell County, yeah, you throw that in there. And I did. That's where it came from, about 50-some years ago. But when we came here, flag football
big time
was the only football.
Yeah.
And we played flag football. We played it at the baseball, up at the big league field or high school field today.
Played that in college in intramurals.
And I hear flag football is really, I'm not saying it's going to take high school football. I'm just hearing a lot of people are interested in flag football, and I understand there's a flag football league in Knoxville that's played.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And it is huge.
I know intramurals do that. Of course, they're not going to play tackle, but the intramural football teams at UT has the belt, and you just it's Velcro, and just rip the flag off. It's still big.
Well, I was talking to my buddy Archie Brummett, fire chief, and his grandson has played in that flag football league over there. I don't know if it's been a couple years in a row now or one, but just talking about how many kids and how many games. And I think when they start, they play, it's an all-day thing. You just play all day long. I assume maybe you might play 2 games, but
right.
He talks about how much that Camden likes playing, and that to do that because he likes football, but he's just not grown up enough yet to actually be playing, but he likes the flag football. And you just hear, I've been hearing a lot more about flag football.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with it all.
And listen, for people to, I think what's funny is football is a violent sport.
You should know that from day one.
You should know it from day one. But my leading up to a point is you hit in football, But the National Hockey League, they'll tell you that they don't have concussion problems.
Right. Exactly.
They don't even recognize the concussion stuff. They don't even want to talk about it. I seen a series where a bunch of hockey players that are having problems today. Hockey is just as violent as.
It may be more so.
Hockey's just as violent as football. Because somebody's skating as fast as they can skate, and they hit you and put you through the board. And I'm a hockey fan. I love watching hockey. And when I go home tonight, I'm going to watch and see if the Capitals can maybe get in the Stanley Cup Finals for a change instead of getting booted, because I like the Capitals. And but I just think hockey's a violent game. I just think for them to say, and you just mentioned this, you just said ground.
Yeah.
How would you like to get hit on the ground, but on ice, it's hard ice?
Well, if that don't get you, a right hook, mate.
Yeah, right.
There we go.
Well, listen, it's a violent game when they do the interviews, and most of them's got front seats in it. At some point, there's something missing up here.
Absolutely. How do they avoid the conversation?
That's a good
question.
Period.
I don't know.
I watched the thing, and it's like the guy said, I can't remember who the hockey player was. He talked about it, and he said, and they don't even recognize it. So I got to try to do a little bit more research on it and figure out what the deal is and why they say. Because I think they're saying it's really not a violent sport. Well, hockey's a violent sport too, okay, folks?
I heard it. Carrie Underwood's husband, he's retired again.
Yes, he has.
He came out of retirement.
They brought him back. He retired last year, and he came back this year for the last
He said
20-some games.
He said the tank's empty.
I think he came back for the last 28 games or something.
We ought to go with her manager or something. You know.
Well,
money shouldn't be a problem in that family.
I think he came back because I really thought.
They need some leadership, I think.
I think he really thought. I think Nashville really thought by them making the finals last year against Pittsburgh that this was their year. That they would be back in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it just goes to show you how hard it is. And you know, Pittsburgh had won back-to-back titles, and they got finally Washington. That's who put Washington out every year was Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
Put them out every year, it seemed like. And finally, Washington, I forgot how many times they'd been put out by them, but they finally put Pittsburgh out. And I think Nashville really thought that they would have a chance at being in the Stanley Cup Finals right now, and it just didn't happen.
But the big talk in Nashville now, and there's a controversy in the fairgrounds where the old racetrack used to be. I think the racetrack's still there, but they don't use it much. But I think Nashville will get that professional soccer team because they just hired the executive CEO.
They already had that hockey. I mean, you're talking about soccer team.
It's a professional. Well, they hired a. He was over the English Premier Soccer Association. So it's the CEO of somewhere, but he has been hired. So, but they're going to try to build the field on the fairgrounds, and that's a political situation.
I understand, if I seen it right then, I'm positive I'm right, the 2019 NFL draft is going to take place in
Nashville. Absolutely. That's, people's already got, they said they're going to reserve 5,000 rooms. People obviously going to camp out, but that's something you could drive in and out, people that live fairly close.
I think it might be pretty neat to go to.
I think it's fastest, well, they said there's 100 people moving into Nashville per day.
Wow.
And the traffic is just horrendous because we go down in January and
it's horrendous.
Yeah, but it's cold. It's not as bad.
Not as bad.
But Nashville's the place to go, but you know, traffic's going to be a problem. Now Murfreesboro, we've been to Murfreesboro too, and that is loaded. Disney World's actually bought property there. Don't know what's going to happen, nothing yet, but they've actually bought some property.
Wow.
But Nashville will have the soccer, the football. They don't have a basketball team yet.
They have basketball too. They have baseball. They have a AAA team baseball, don't they?
It's Nashville Sounds. It used to be in the Yankees organization, but not. You know, they changed those affiliates. You know, so don't know. Interesting. But I wish the old racetrack, man. I mean, that's just where Darrell Walther.
Well, you know that new racetrack they built, like you're going out to
Murfreesboro, yeah, close to that way.
I don't think they even run there any. It's
God, it was $multi-million.
It was it's a big thing. Me and Steve went to a truck race or two there. We went to a couple truck races there. It was pretty nice.
To build that racetrack, they had to build a flyover of the 4-lane there for traffic outlying areas to get over that and not get on the interstate there. Unbelievable what that must have cost. But I wonder why they take that off.
You know, I don't know. You know, I never did think that it was big enough for an actual NASCAR event.
What's the it's a half mile?
It's I believe it is. I never thought it was big enough stand wise for an event.
Yep.
Maybe for a truck race or an Xfinity race. Yes.
You think they were promised something? Why would you buy something?
I think a lot of people, back in the day, people built those tracks thinking,
we'll
get that Cup race.
Exactly.
We'll get that NASCAR race. That NASCAR race will come to us. And
mile and a half is probably the popular one now.
Yeah, probably.
Because I think all Ford and Chevy and all of them's pretty strong on mile and a half. So.
And, you know, they did some things this past weekend. I didn't watch the All-Star race. I just was told about. They did some things where they run at Charlotte and they run a restrictor plate for the first time. I think I was told there at Charlotte.
Right.
Try to make the racing better because NASCAR is really struggling right now with viewership.
They going to sell NASCAR? Did you hear that? Possibly. Who would buy? Well, there's always somebody got enough money to buy anything, but who would? You know, what would that go for? A dollar amount. My goodness.
No, like I said, it's in trouble. And I tell you what's put it in trouble. I don't know that NASCAR itself has not put itself in trouble. It's the businesses that are around these places that put NASCAR in trouble. To go and they hit you, they hit you at the gas pump, they hit you at the food, they hit you at the motel. I mean, it's just unreal.
But the cost of sponsorship for a team,
you
don't see the one what used to be Lowe's on Jimmy Johnson, you don't see that one sponsor anymore. It
takes 10 or 12.
Exactly.
You're looking at, to sponsor a NASCAR Cup team, you're looking at $40 million,
Yeah.
if not more.
Yeah, I just
Not
don't
more.
see how they put it together. You know, and I think Matt Kenson's driving one of Jack Rouse's old cars, and when they practiced, and it just had Rouse on it. So I guess Jack's
He's
sponsored.
trying to, you know, there's Rouse Racing that used to be something
Yep.
that's now really not.
Struggling,
And it's trying
yep.
to bring, Kenseth is trying to help them out to see if he can help them out to get them back, because I don't see how some of these teams make it.
I don't either.
I don't
Absolutely.
see how they make it, but
Well, you know, you got Kevin Harvick. You know, he's won 7 races already this
he's
year.
won a bunch.
Of course, he's driving for Tony Stewart, that they thought would never be an owner, but obviously he is.
Done a good job
He's
at
done
that.
done a great job. Jimmy Johnson's falling well off.
He has, and even lost his sponsorship after this
Yeah,
year. Lowe's is no longer going to be with him, been his sponsor since day
And
one.
that's part Jeff Gordon's car, you know. So Camry, Toyota, they haven't done very much this year. So it's strictly Ford.
It's been Ford. It's been a Ford show. I mean, Kyle Busch has won a few races, but Kevin Harvick has by far been the Martin Truex of last year as far as this year goes. He's the man right now.
He's always been a good driver.
He's
Yeah.
running really well right now. So
What is NASCAR like? They don't have the bad boy. Of course, the Busch kid did, but he's not winning enough to be a bad boy or a good boy either
Well,
one. But they just don't have that guy.
I don't know.
know.
I don't know. People don't like to go and watch them run nose to tail and just run around the track. That's really boring.
I agree.
You got to have some action. You got to be able to pass.
Well, is it the car, or the got to get those points?
I think
you know, and if you get knocked out,
I think a lot of things. It's NASCAR, the restrictions they put on the cars. They're trying to keep the cars on the ground, keep them out of the air. 'Cause
and they
go in
can't
the air-
pass anybody.
When they go in there, when they get up and they get airborne, there's no telling where they'll go.
Right.
They've had them instances where they've gotten the catch fence, did some damage, so they don't want them to get in the catch fence
Hurt
or over
anybody.
it and hurt
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. When you're averaging 200 and some miles an hour around some of these facilities, that's pretty fast.
that's darn.
That's pretty
That
fast.
knows
buddy.
knows still, and that's why they have the big ones. They call it. You know.
And it's just like this weekend. If you're a race fan this weekend, you can't ask for anything any
Charlotte,
better.
yes.
You'll go on. You'll have the longest NASCAR race of the year. Will be Sunday evening, and then that at 12 o'clock Sunday, you'll have the Indianapolis 500.
Right.
So you can't ask for a better. If you're a race fan, can't ask for a better weekend this weekend to have all that. And I'm sure Saturday night somewhere there's some dirt track around here that's having a big Memorial Day race probably. So dirt track racing's come back a little bit. It's come back up a little bit. It nosedived a little bit.
Exactly.
But see, those dirt track teams are just like a NASCAR team. They're hauling with those big trailers now. They're hauling a couple cars
Right.
and motors, and man, it's just really expensive. So
Let's see who has the money to do it. And I've never known the purse to be big enough. It would be worth having a car that would cost $100,000 dirt car, and you win $2,500 on Saturday.
well, some of these big races is 10 to win or 20 to win. There are a few that pay a little bit more than that, and those are the guys that really travel the circuit,
Right.
that racing the big races. There's a lot of those guys. You can win some money, but I don't know how much. I don't know how much you actually can win in a year. That'd be something to check with.
Well, the
just
points
to find out.
championship may pay off quite
And
a bit.
it very well could if you
Yep.
run the points. You know, you take somebody like Scott Bloomquist. He's been doing it a long time.
Yep.
A long time. And he's won some really big races. And it'd be interesting to see just how much money he's won and how much he actually had to spend to keep his team going.
Obviously, his sponsorship has
Yeah.
pushed him a long way.
Hey, appreciate you filling in tonight for Barry, and I might still walk away next week. I might not even show up. I might just stay at the house next
Thanks,
week.
Barry.
Yeah, that's what I'd think him too. Hey, join us right back here next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the Locker Room Chat, and we'll try to finish up the high school sports for the year and
Have some champions maybe next
maybe
week.
have some champions
Yeah,
next week that we
right.
can talk about. And we'll see you right back here next week on Channel 12 on the Locker Room Chat. Have a good Memorial Day.
Go Blaze.
Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood is your gift destination. Shop the new plush selection for that special someone. We have Bath & Body Works popular fragrances and custom gift baskets too. Live and Let Live has a wide selection of gift and home decor for any occasion, from yard flags to selected jewelry, plus much more. We have Big Orange giftware always available year-round. And don't forget to enjoy a soda fountain treat while you shop. Live and Let Live Drugstore, Gift Shop, and Soda Fountain in downtown Rockwood.